Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the monthly forecast for the sign of Gemini, sun, moon, and rising signs. This is for the month of November 2018. This is a general reading for all Gemini, sun, moon, and rising signs. Today we're going to do a fairly simple spread. It's only a 5-card traditional Celtic. But I do find it helpful for answering any questions that you may have or concerns, or if you need confirmation for a project or theme that's prominent in your life at the time of this viewing. So I really hope that you enjoyed your October reading and that you found that helpful and healing as well. Let's get into messages for Gemini for November 2018. Gemini 2018, November. What does Gemini need to know? And there we go. As always, I'll get jumper cards from the Oracle decks here following your reading. And I will look at the bottom of the deck for general energy for the month for you. You have this gorgeous transformation card. You could be dealing with a Scorpio. Transformation really is the death card in this deck. We're going to look at the other cards in association with this in just a second, but this is a standalone for general energy. It just means that something has to come to a permanent end, or something will be coming to a permanent end for you. Not that another layer or a next level or another chapter will be added to a theme or concern here. This just needs to die a natural death. So something that you wanted to come to a close, or something sort of put permanently away, this is the month to do it, Gemini. Let's get your cards out. As I always do, I will get a little feel for what's going on with all of these cards together, and then I'll look at them in their respective position here. So generally speaking, some really nice energy. You do have 2 5s, which means there could be some conflict. It could be sort of competitive energy here. We have a little bit of miscommunication here with the 5 of Swords, maybe having to be right about something, and you know, you may win that verbal or idealistic war, so to speak, but it's going to feel empty. It's going to be followed with an emptiness here. It's almost like the lesson here in the 5 of Swords, in my view, as a standalone, is even if you won an argument, would it be worth it? Is it better to be right or kind? Sort of what I'm looking at here. Just a little bit of conflict, but again, it's very competitive energy. It doesn't have to be negative. This could be, this could propel you both if it's between you and one other person, or you, say, you know, deciding which angle to take or which area to move in your life. This could fire you up. It doesn't have to be, nothing has to be negative, frankly. But this could work to your favor, both of these 5s. And remember, anytime we're dealing with a 5, we're just looking for balance. We're looking for the next stage, which is a 6, which always spells balance. But this is there's a lot of lessons or a learning opportunity anytime we see 5s, and ultimately anything below a 7 in any element is what I consider pretty, movable energy. It's energy that you can manipulate, or you can move, or isn't long lasting. So even if this does crop up in your, in the month of November for you, Gemini, it's going to be short lived. And again, this could be a matter of, you could be right at the end of an argument or a theme or a philosophy here, but it won't be very fulfilling. And again, with the competitiveness here, it could serve you, right? Both of these angles could serve you. There's a learning lesson here. We do have a 7 of Cups, which is really, what do you really want? What is your heart's desire, truly? You know, when you really think about it, what do you really feel is your heart's desire here? And with the 4 of Swords, we are looking at a period of rest, okay? So could be something that you need to take a back seat on here, or maybe not make as important, or maybe it'll turn out to be not as important as you had originally planned. And then of course your major arcana in the center for the outcome is really about perspective. It's developing perspective. there is a opportunity here for enlightenment. So again, as your general energy for the entire month being the Death card, it could just be about changing something permanently within you or within a project or relationship. Again, as a general matter, whatever is most prominent to you is what I encourage you to use these messages for. I think it's an opportunity, honestly, this month for you to say, what's really important to me? I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to let everything else just be led with kindness, especially if you are a competitive person or you're pushing yourself to do something, or this is between you and someone else, whether it's a love affair or a business matter. It could be a matter of, what's more important? Being kind or being right, or working fairly with others, or, towards success for everybody, or working by myself and making things harder or more challenging. It's really, I do believe this month for you is going to be like a decision that will cut out superfluous themes for you that sort of take up your mind and your heart space. And it's just old energy. It needs to go. But I do think you need to take a different, create a different angle to look at something, or look at something important to you through a different lens. So if that's what we're looking at, just with the energies that I'm seeing with all these cards together. Now let's look at their respective positions. Of course, we have work. So yeah, what is your heart really resting on here? This is a lot of opportunities. This is a lot of themes, or even feelings or sensations that you have with regard to opportunities. As a love matter, it can be that you have more than one suitor, or you have some choices in the love arena. But even as a business or scholastic or educational or even ideological theme here, I do think it can work to your advantage to pay attention to what some of them are. This is really taking a look at what's available. You don't have to make a decision here. This is just the theme around work in the month of November for you. So what makes you happiest? Where do you feel most at home, even in the work world? I wouldn't normally say that, but we're not dealing with any other element here for the workplace except for the cups. So this is a really feeling nature. This is a very sensitive nature. So on the other hand, you could be dealing with some feelings at work, or choosing sides, or deciding which side of the debate that's cropping up a lot here for me. So which side of the fence, okay, you're going to rest on, even in the workplace. Another theme here with this being in the work position is to say, is your heart all in it? You could be a little bit scattered, or your heart's not all in it this month. Maybe don't give yourself a hard time about that either. If that's the case, it could just be that November, depending on the business place or workplace that you find yourself in, it could just be excessively busy, or have things have picked up so much that you're wondering, is this where I really want to be? Is this really where I want to work? Or how I want to work? Do I like the feelings that I get when I'm at work with my coworkers? When I leave this position for the day, do I feel good? If not, I would suggest maybe putting a little bit more heart and soul into that, Gemini, in the month of November. I think it'll pay dividends for you. Here in the home, this is where we're looking at a little bit of competition, a little bit of conflict. So again, it can be a growth experience anytime we're looking at fives, as I always say. But just, I think honestly, between the Five of Swords here and then of course the Five of Wands, we're really looking at an opportunity to decide perhaps what is more important, okay? And I said this at the very start, is winning the argument or the contract or the war of words or ideological war, whatever that is, or debate, okay? It could just be this chill event. It could be just a debate. Could be an opportunity for you and the other person involved, or other people, or entities, to really learn and grow from this. And this is, I'm saying this especially because I see these two, we have these two, this resting card here, this card of, maybe winning something here, but it feeling pretty empty. You could really let someone down. Someone could be really letting you down here. It's not for lack of telling the truth necessarily. It's just maybe the way it was presented. And ultimately, I believe that it was someone who felt it was more important to be right. And that may be what needs to be put to rest here. Either you or the other person needs to say, look, it's more important to be kind. And maybe that's the whole theme for you this month anyway, Gemini, is like, ultimately, how do I want to go about expressing myself? How do I want to work? What is my perspective on things? Does it benefit me to look at this theme or the world in general through a different lens? Ultimately, I would say yes. It's going to behoove you to do that, any one of us. But in terms of the home here, a little bit of conflict. It could also be energizing and exciting. You can see she sort of has a little saucy look on her face. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It's just that something needs to be balanced out here. You'll know that the 6 of Wands is a sense of victory, okay? It's really feeling victorious here. So, and of course the 6 of Swords for that matter here with the, I could be winning an argument, but no one's gonna like me at the end of it type thing. Or I could get away with something here with my position and it really not making me feel good, or some people will benefit and I'll be closer to some people and some people won't. And it's just really about like the entirety of who you're dealing with. I do think there is a little bit of backwards motion here between the work and the home. I mean, the work is really about cups and feelings here, and then the home is about wands and perhaps a little bit of conflict, a little bit of, energy, a lot of energy, a lot of heat here. But the interesting thing about the 5 of Wands is that that's what it's going to do. It's going to present a lot of heat, okay? And a lot of feathers could get ruffled here. But at the end of the day, it may not provide you, it seems like it won't provide you with a lot of light. And that's what we want in any conversation, or even during any conflict or disagreement. We want to be able to help each other and ourselves rise above what it is. Either you're going to learn or they're going to learn, but it has to be through the channel of love. And maybe this is just a nice thing for you to consider this month is, maybe inject some heart into the home environment and inject some avenue of or element of, I'm going to say generous conflict. This sense of, this generously but lovingly, prodding someone forward, okay? It can be done in a really gentle way and in a loving way. So, yeah, just a major theme to look out for here, maybe kindness over being right. In your unexpected position, this is the 5 of Swords. That's what I'm saying here. I do think that you'll come out, at least ideologically speaking or factually speaking, on top. I think you have everything in order here. I think you have your ducks in a row. But the feeling you get from when it's all said and done is going to be disappointing. On the other hand, if you're the recipient of this and someone needs to be right versus kind with you, it's going to be empty to them. And especially with the role in this situation being this 4 of Swords is a rest period. And this is where we're going to be able to take a little bit of a back seat. So remember here, the unexpected in the month of November for you is a little bit of discord, ideological or communicative discord, choosing being right over kind. And then this sense of, ooh, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. This is a real excellent moment for reflection. So either you or the other individual or entities are being asked here to take a step back. It will behoove everyone involved to do this, because remember, something needs to come to a permanent close or a permanent end. Something here within this environment that, only you know what that is a general matter, Gemini, as you view this, really needs to be put on a shelf for good. So I think that the learning opportunities here are massive. They will be life-altering, okay? They'll be life-altering. And of course, as your outcome, as I mentioned briefly at the beginning, we have this gorgeous Hanged Man. So there's a real need for enlightenment, okay? There's a big moon behind him, so there could be something happening with the upcoming full moon. Check that out for moments of enlightenment in the full moon in your area. In some of the original artwork, he does have a little bit of a halo here, or a light, okay, behind his head. And that is the spark of brilliance, okay? It's the spark of understanding. It is illumination, right? So that's what's going on here. And the fact that he's upside down, normally he's hanging, sort of from one leg from a tree, for example. This is also a rest period. So just as much as the Four of Swords is sort of a mental rest period, or taking a step back from, say, some miscommunication or an ideological conflict here, there's an opportunity here for you, a very extraordinary one, right? Because we do have something permanently changing. It could be that your viewpoint is going to be dramatically shifted here, at least by the end of the month for you. And as I always say, if this is projected and you're trying to help someone else, this is someone else's energy in your environment. Someone around you is going to be permanently transformed here by a conversation. I would keep, or an educational opportunity, keep a lot of heart here. I do see you coming into the situation. Like I said, I know this is on the work front, but whatever's going on here, even if it is a family or a romance situation, it could feel like work right now, right? So, effort, a lot of effort. And there are no pentacles in your reading this month either. So I think when it says work in this environment for you this month, Gemini, I think it has less to do with, say, income or assets. It has more to do with how you feel about what you think and why you would be defending something where there's an opportunity for education or learning, or you're around somebody who's like this and you're trying to help them and they're putting the blocks up and the blinders on and that type of thing. Take a step back from the situation, maybe let them come to you for more information. Really gauge how you feel about the whole situation, okay? And be aware of what type of lenses you're wearing around this situation, because something will be permanently changed for you. And because we have, out of all the cards, the majority really are air. This could be ideological, thought process, communication, or even belief system. Here we have serenity. Yeah, again, I wouldn't let... This really does beautifully match both the Four of Swords, as I mentioned. This is a very restful, healing card. You do need to take a step back here. In addition to the outcome being the Hanged Man, which is, peel yourself back from a situation, particularly if it has a little bit of hold on your heart, or if it's affecting the way that you feel about yourself and others. Take the time this month, because like I said, there's going to be a permanent transformation here, and you will want to know that all the T's are crossed and the I's were dotted and everything was looked at pretty meticulously, to your liking here before making that permanent decision or taking that next step, as it were. So serenity, yeah, maybe just consider that everything is working out to your benefit at this time. Maybe just consider that as well. Consider that this is the right time. There is no wrong time. The right time is now, and you can trust your intuition. You can trust your feelings. The purpose this month for you, Gemini, is to act on information that you've taken a step back from, okay? You really don't want to make sudden or long-standing decisions around something that is heated, okay? If it's heated and you're about to make a decision, just know, you know what? Things are really heated. I'm going to take a step back. Maybe wait for that. So really let serenity rule the month energetically for you. You have a loyal heart here, so someone is definitely on your side. I don't think you're going to lose anybody that's important to you, or they're not going to lose you. I think ultimately we're going to deal with ourselves and others with an enormous sense of respect. And I think ultimately this is what was missing in the first place. There was just the shutdown of the feelings, or this focus on being right, as opposed to, you know, again, what's more important? Like, kindness is always more important. And then time to go. Absolutely. You know, you want to give up the ghost. You want to give up what you are discovering this month isn't working for you, or isn't factual, or doesn't fulfill you here. Okay. I think someone does have your back. You certainly have someone else's back. If they're going through something and you're helping them go through something. But ultimately, it's time to walk away from something, 100%. Like, look at that transformation card and then consider the time to go. Like, something needs to be put to rest permanently here. And if it's not ideological for you, I will suggest very likely that it will have to do with, with your heart space. But ultimately, it will affect one or the other. Whatever's going on mentally or ideologically for you will affect the way you feel as it comes to a close, or you make some, you know, permanent decisions here. And vice versa. What's happening on the heart level is going to affect the way that you think. Okay? Separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. So again, I'm going to equate this to the Four of Swords. I'm going to suggest that there is a very positive element to taking a step back from something, especially if it's been a heated argument, you're not seeing eye to eye right now, or there is an issue of perspective that needs to be dealt with here as something permanently changes for you. I wouldn't read into this. I know this person is yours forever, or you're theirs forever. Also, it's probably, and this could be a physical separation if that's the case, you know, stay in contact, express yourself, make that person know that you miss them, obviously, but it could be a mental separation. Again, we're not seeing any pentacles here, so I don't see, you know, a lot of physical attributes regarding this matter for the month of November for you. So it could just be mental or even emotional. Like, time apart is necessary right now. You really need to be your own individual as well before entering a relationship or continuing one, lest you just become sort of caricatures of each other. You know, you really always want to be your own person, like 100% your own person. So this really could be the month for you, where it's like you had just been following protocol or following someone else's lead, or vice versa, someone else is doing it with you, and they're coming up with a new way of thinking, or a new way of assessing, or a new lens through which to look at something. Ultimately, again, use this to your advantage, okay? Use any separation or conflict to your advantage. Stay calm in the face of changes here. Recognize something needs to be let go of, and know you're not alone. You're not alone. This person cares about you, and you care about them very much. So perhaps another avenue to look at this would be to say, especially if you start to feel left out, or that it's affecting feelings that you have with this person about other areas of your life, maybe just say that, like, remind yourself of all the things that you have in common, and maybe there's one or two things, like in the month of November, that you don't have in common, and that's okay. That's okay. You're allowed. You're two different people. The ultimate theme for me with all of these cards here is respect, okay? Love and respect. Take your time, slow down a little, especially around a theme that's been very probably causing conflict. Here with your final card in the medicine deck is Otter. This is woman medicine. So yeah, I mean, this could have to do with a woman or a very prominent female, someone who is very attractive. This is very attractive woman medicine. It is the feminine, okay? It's the ultimate feminine. This is the coquette. This is the flirt. But there's something unique that belongs to the feminine and to the female, as opposed to the uniqueness that belongs to masculinity and maleness. I think that men can show, right? Like grown men can still be flirty and coquettish and have a very feminine nature and be men. And females can have masculine energy and be very masculine orientated and even have a masculine appearance, for heaven's sakes. But they can still be female. And they can still be the coquette and the flirt, okay? But use a different angle or come across in a different way. That's very exciting for them, or that fulfills them somehow. So ultimately, we're dealing with a coquette, with a flirt here. Woman medicine is ultimately also about, I wouldn't say ultimately, but it's also about respecting other people's love interests. This is about knowing when to pull back. Like if you are in a position in any state here, Gemini, this may be a specific message for a few certain Geminis watching. If you know that someone else is coming in and is sort of attracting your partner and that's not welcome, that's 10 to 1, that's what this is going to be about. And flip side that, right? If you're expressing interest, or you're stepping into someone else's love circle or love environment and that's not welcome, this can be misused, right? This can create conflict if it's used incorrectly, or if it's not identified or paid attention to. So just beware here that you are not injecting yourself into someone else's affairs or environment where this type of energy isn't welcome, aka someone else's love interest. And make sure that's not happening to you, that you sort of put the brakes on that. And good luck with this permanent decision or change here this month. I honestly don't see anything negative or bad here. I do see, however, a huge learning opportunity, a huge growth opportunity for you, with, in particular here, with a perspective of yours, with a long-held viewpoint or perspective that's going to be switched up for you. I'm excited. It is going to fill your heart. You're going to choose kindness over being right. At the end of the day, you're still both, right? At the end of the day, when you're right, but you choose kindness, and another person is factually wrong, you're still right. Everyone else will tell them. You can give them a hug and a little kiss and know in your heart you're still right, but that it's more important to be together and to be loving. So that's what I think is going on here. Just be sure that your heart is still full and you're not contemplating, what's more important. You will know because something you will have to take a little bit of a mental rest on, come back to a little bit later, and you can make your mind up about it fully here. So, and don't be afraid of a little bit of, with a little bit of, gentle prodding, okay? Gentle education or re-education here. So that is your reading for the month. I hope that you enjoyed that. If you have a second, comment below. I love hearing from you. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out, as well as your likes and shares. Thank you all so much for your encouragement to do this work. I hope this video finds you well. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, everybody.